Okay, so today we'll talk about personal leadership brand. It's something about you as leaders. And then you can think about talent programs, leadership programs, company and teams, but it all starts with you as a leader. Your personal brand is what other people think of you or talk of you when you're not in the room. Why is it important to you? Why building your personal brand is important? Because of
influence.
Yes, influence and image and gravitas. Credibility, yes.
Getting your message across.
Yes, as people listen to you.
It's about impact in the first few moments sometimes that can have a longer term impact.
Yes. And from what kind of brand you will have as leader will depend what kind of employees will want to work for you. And what kind of employees will stay in your team to work with you. Or it will depend what kind of company will hire you as leader to fit their culture or what they want to achieve. Or if you're a business leader, what kind of customers will want to collaborate with you. So building your brand is about spreading the message, who are you and how you add value. It's not about shouting out loud, it's me, 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 look at me. But it's about how do I add value to people, to my team, to customers. I've done research. What does it make from just fine to brilliant leadership? And one of the key differentiator is leaders who have built their personal brand step out of the sea of samenessness and make a much more meaningful impact to their teams, to go out there and wow the customer with their excellent service. So that helps leadership brand. And recently, over the recent years, building your personal brand as leader has become much more important than building company brand. So it comes first. And why is that?
You're the face of the company, I guess.
Exactly. You are the face of the company, and actually, by your brand, you build company brand. As if you have bought product or service from another company, and if you have issue with that product or service, whom do you call? You pick up the phone, whom do you call? Company? No. You call the person who has sold you this product or service, or who can help you by fixing the issue. And who is picking up the phone? Is it company? It's person. And by the way, how this person will serve you as customer, how they will fix the issue, you will think about company. And you will talk with your friends. If they serve you well, you'll talk good things about them. If they serve you badly, you'll talk even to more friends, bad things about them. So that's how personal brand influences company brand. And that's why for us as leaders, it's important to build our brand and to engage our teams much more impactfully. Who of you, raise your hand, who of you are already building their brand purposefully? Good, well done, quite a few. Who haven't heard of personal branding concept so far? Okay, we all, okay. Welcome to the session. So we do build our brands, or we will start to build our brands, hopefully, after this session. So why I'm here? We all have a purpose when we come to this world. For some people, it's magic the numbers excellently by being great accountants or bookkeepers. For some people, the purpose is to bring people together to inspirational and thought-provoking events like this and encourage us for innovation and ideas by organizing these conferences. For some people, it's empowering their teams, empowering their people to deliver for customer by being great leaders. Do you know what is your why? What's your purpose? Think about that. What is your one thing? What's your purpose? We talked about that in the morning as well. That when you have a purpose, you're much more energized and impactful to engage your team and deliver. So my purpose and my passion is to encourage people to develop their personal brand and be their best. As I've experienced that myself, when I'm clear about my talents, about my passion, about my vision, I'm much more impactful, I'm much more energized person, I'm much more engaging as leader, and my team feels it. Doesn't matter which country they feel it. And that's how personal branding works. I have good news and bad news for you today. Who wants to hear good news? Okay, quite a few. Who wants to hear bad news? Few as well, okay, so there is equal. Actually, there were more people who wanted to hear good news, so I'll start with good news. The good news are that you can develop your brand. It takes quite some time, and it takes an energy and focus, but you can do that. Of course, you can't build your brand from something that you are not. It has to be in you. It has to be based on your talents, on your strengths, on your passion. You cannot fake it. Don't believe those who say fake it until you make it. That doesn't work with personal branding. People feel it when it's not natural, when it's not you. So the good news is that you can do that. Another good news is that I have a toolbox for you that can help to understand what are your talents, what's your passion, what's your personal vision. And I have published that in a book, The Success Planner. So there are tools and techniques how to understand what are your talents and what are your values, what's your passion, and how to build your goals in a way that you achieve them automagically because you do them in congruence with yourself and knowing why you do that. Another good news are that in the room between you, there is a winner who will win the Success Planner today. So what's the bad news, you might ask, right? The bad news are, for some, that you will need to take some action to win. Sometimes to win, you just need to take an action because others don't. Obviously, in the room, you are action takers, right? So what's the action? I'm sure you came to this event for networking purposes as well, as that's one of the key things of these kind of events. One is inspiration, learning, and networking and connecting. Take your business card now and put on the table. You will need that later. So the action will be that during the presentation, listen to insights and thoughts in the presentation. And on the blank side of your business card, if you don't have your business card, take a small sheet of paper and make sure you write your name on it. So on the blank side of business card, write one question that you have about personal branding that pops in your mind during presentation. And then later on, I will collect the business cards and we'll draw the winner. Is that a fair deal? Everybody can win?
Sorry, could you repeat that? What do we need to do?
Yes.
I was too busy getting funny my car.
Right. So the action is take your business card or a small sheet of paper, write your name if that's not business card. During presentation, write a question on the blank side of business card about personal branding or leadership branding, whatever you're thinking about. And then later on, I'll draw the prize. Okay? Okay, good. So that's for later. What's in it for you? When I'm facilitating personal branding sessions in our company and externally as well, and coaching leaders and employees to develop their personal brand, I see that one key thing what happens with professionals is they become much more confident and energized about what they do and how they add value. And they're much more impactful with customers to engage customers. Because first thing they say, or one of the first things they say meeting customer, it's not about how many years I've been with company, how old is our company, and what kind of processes do we have, but how I add value, how I can contribute for your business or for you as a professional. And that shifts the language that people use, and that shifts the mindset, and also customer impact. For leaders in a business, they become much more inspirational and empowering because they understand what's their purpose. It's not just about vision and mission of the company. It's about vision and mission for myself as leader, why I'm in the business, why I'm leading my team, what outcome do I want to achieve, what I'm great at, and what I'm not great at. And then seeing in a team and helping my team to develop their brands, to understand and become more self-aware what they're great at and what not. And I can delegate the stuff which I know I'm not great at, but somebody in my team is, and they will be happy to do that. So that's how developing your brand, you get more clarity as a leader and confidence. As you might think, senior executives, they need to have confidence day in, day night. Sometimes they don't, because we don't think sometimes what I'm great at. I just do my role. But what are my talents? How do I add value? How do I contribute? And how do I don't what I'm not great at? And acknowledge that. And for companies, I see the impact. Despite the country, I've done the sessions in UK, in US, Spain, France, Netherlands, quite a few countries, and it doesn't matter the culture. The impact is similar. It works for professionals to become much more confident and impactful. It works for leaders to be more inspirational and empowering leaders. And from company perspective, you get better brand advocates, people who know why they are there, who are confident they are in the right place and doing the job that contributes not just to company but also to their personal development. They see the link. In the workshops, what we do, it's not just building professional brand, but it's also linking to company strategy and how do I as a professional, with my strengths and talents, how do I contribute to company strategy and how do I deliver? How do I live my excellence every day? So that helps to become, for companies to have more brand advocates in-house. And of course that contributes to engagement culture as well, as people become much more switched on and engaged. So how brands work? If you think about Apple as brand, what are first things that come in your mind? Innovative, yes.
Market leader.
Market leader. Yeah. What else? What's that? Technology, yes.
Good to look at. Cool.
Yeah.
Stylish.
And maybe you don't even have any Apple product yourself, but you have an opinion about them. And that's how brands work. And Apple, sometimes those who are Apple users, I am, sometimes technology doesn't work and they have some bugs. But we forgive them because of the strengths that we bought them for. And that's how branding works. It's not about all kind of positives. It's about knowing what you're great at and sharing that with people. And then people forgive you what you're not great at. What about Google? What are first things that come in your mind? Creative, yes. What else? Fun. Yeah. And we heard the presentation, those who were in the room, how Google culture works, and it's much more fun and it's innovative and creative. And sometimes it might not be fun, but we have overall impression it's fun. And sometimes we are concerned about data security or privacy, but we still Google, and it even has been it has gone in the culture or language that let's Google it. So that's how branding works. BMW. There are certain type of people who choose BMW as a car, right? And that's how branding works. Your leadership brand, there are certain type of people that your brand will attract, or that company will attract. Let's think about leadership brands. When you think about Steve Jobs, what comes in your mind? Driven as leader, yes.
Obsessive.
Obsessive. About idea, yeah. What about Richard Branson?
Entrepreneur.
Entrepreneur. Oprah? Anything? She needs to do some more branding in UK, right? You might not even have met these people, like Steve Jobs or Richard Branson in person, but you have impression about them. That's how branding works. How do you communicate what you're great at? What do you want the world to know about you as leader? Today I want to give you one practical tool. As personal branding starts with research, what's already out there? You all have a brand. Are you aware of it or not? But people talk about you, right? They do. Honestly, they do. So branding is managing that in people's minds. What do they talk about you? Based on your behavior, on your attitude, how do you treat them, what you're great at. So that's influencing that, what people talk about you. And one great tool to start with building your personal brand is research. So how do you do research? You ask for feedback, right? So simple tool, when you go home tonight, ask your family, your children, your spouse, your friends, what do you think are my talents? What I'm great at? Ask tomorrow your colleagues, your team, your manager, why do you work with me? Why do you work for me? Why did you hire me? What do you value in me? And then do analysis. So what are the things that are coming through? And are these the things that you want to be perceived on? Is that your brand that you want to have? Or do you want to influence and change how people perceive you? And again, bear in mind that you cannot build your brand based on what you're not. You can enhance some of your skills or capabilities or talents that you already have or develop that, but don't false it. Personal branding is about full-time commitment. If you started your personal brand development journey, go on it and live your personal excellence every day. As if you have defined your brand, live with it, breathe it, be it, and then people will buy in. If you think from company leadership perspective, leadership brand in the company, then it's like a bridge between customer expectations and our employee behavior. So how do we serve customer? That's leadership brand in the company. Okay, enough theory, enough definitions. Let's talk practical. From my experience, I have pulled together 7 steps process how to develop your personal brand. And in personal branding, there are 2 stages. One is that you explore yourself, you understand yourself better, you connect with yourself. And only then you can share and communicate. As in States, they focus more on social media communication and talking. But I believe it starts with core you. Who are you as a person? Who are you as leader? How do you add value? So first thing is talents. And today I'll give the snapshot of the tool. Obviously, when we do the workshops, we go deeper to help people to understand what are their talents. As who is thinking about their talents every day or frequently? A little bit, yeah? We don't tend to do that, right? We just get on with our job, do it, and don't really think about what we are great at. And if our leader doesn't give us feedback or our people don't come to us and say, well done, I really appreciate you doing that, then we tend to not think about it. And where does it come from? It comes from that we constantly want to improve. We are more thinking about what I'm not great at and what I need to improve. And that comes from the families that, if you think about your children, sometimes as parents, because we want our kids to do their best, we focus where they're not great at, because we want to help them. If my son is great at, say, music, but not great in maths or literature, what I will do? I will focus how to help him to improve the scores. But maybe I'm killing the next Mozart in the early age. So it's important to focus on what you're great at, of course. You can't just focus on what you're great at. You need to do the stuff, like he needs to learn the math, right, to finish the school. So it's a balance. But start with your talents. And thinking about employees, the quote from Albert Einstein comes in my mind. that he says, everybody of us is genius, right? We are geniuses. But if you judge the fish by its ability to climb the tree, then the whole life it will think it's stupid. So it's really important to notice and to be aware of what are my strengths as leader, what are my talents, and what are my team's talents, each and every individual, and help them. As one of our roles as leaders is help our employees to be in the right place that contributes to their talents, to do the right role, that they can shine and blossom rather than dry, right? But it all starts with you. Also, in airplane, they give you instruction that in case of if their oxygen will lower, then first put the mask on yourself and then on your closest ones, right? So start with yourself, building your brand, and then help your team. The next one is passion. My passion is helping people to succeed by developing their personal brands and becoming much more clear who they stand for and what are their strengths and how they add value. Do you know what's your passion? That's a good question, right? As again, like with talents, we don't think about that every day. But that's so important. When you're crystal clear what's your passion, then the opportunities to do what you're great at and what you're passionate about, they just come. Within the same role and organization, you can get the projects that you're great at and that you're passionate about, because people know you're great at it and you love doing that. And as leaders, again, one of our roles is to inspire and help people to find their passion. It's like Tom Ratz, the scientist from Gallup organization, in his book, How Full Is Your Bucket? He says, who has read the book, by the way? I recommend it. So he says, as leader, you constantly need to fill your bucket of inspiration. When your bucket is full, you can share with your team, with your people. When it's half empty, there is nothing to share. So you constantly need to fill up your bucket of inspiration to share with your team. Values. What are your values? Professor John DeMartini, who is values scientist, he says, if you live or if you choose the job in accordance to your values, in the morning you feel inspired to jump out of the bed and run to the job and do it. But if you do the job which is in congruence to your lowest values, which are not important to you, you need to motivate yourself to get out of the bed and go to office. And for leaders, it's much more easier and empowering to have a team of people who are inspired to do their job rather than need micromanaging. Behaviors. What's your wow? What's the differentiator? How you are different? One of my wows is can-do attitude. In any case, I'll find a solution. Purpose. So what's your purpose? What's your why, as Simon Sinek says? What is your why as leader? Why do you do that? Mission and vision. So what's your mission? What do you want to accomplish? And what's your vision that you're aiming for to implement in your personal life, in your role as leader? So these 7 steps to build your brand. And remember, from this presentation, it's not a self-promotion. It's how your best adds value to other people best. So it is not about self-promotion. Yes, later on you can share that with people to get the projects you enjoy doing, but first start with developing your brand by connecting with yourself. And remember 80-20 rule in personal brand development. 80% of time focus on what you're great at, and 20% of time, of course, learn the stuff that you need to learn or do the things that you don't enjoy, but honestly in corporate world we have to do it. So 80-20. And if you need help, you can find the book on the website. Now it's a good time to finish your questions on the business cards. If you haven't yet, well done. I see, and yes, if you could...
Hands up, you can't.
gather the business cards for the draw. I said you already have a brand. And for people in this room or in this conference, when do you think your branding starts? Long time ago. Yes, exactly. Before the conference, how do you connect? Or when you enter the room, how do you say hello? How do you introduce yourself? What do you say about yourself? What do you ask the other person? So I challenge you, when you now will go on the networking break, change the way how you talk and focus on how do you add value, how you can add value for the person whom you're speaking with. Is it a good challenge? Take it. When I do the workshops in the companies on personal brand development, there are 3 things that happen. First of all, people get more energized, inspired, and empowered to add value and to contribute to their role. And after the workshops, they keep building their brands, and thank you very much. And you see different sparkle in a team. So that's one thing that happens. Another thing, some of them realize that, you know what, this role is not for me. I'm going to find another role within the company because I understand why I have not been happy in this role. It doesn't play to my talents. It doesn't help me to achieve my mission and the vision. That's my personal mission and vision. So I'm going to change the role, and change happens. Or some people decide they're going to leave the company. And that's for good for them and for good for company, because they're not the right people for the role and for the company. So it works beneficially for both. Okay, now it's time to draw the prize and see who is the winner. Okay, last minute call. Thank you. For those who will not win today, I have put some flyers on the tables. So if you want to check in the book later, then feel free to do that, or connect with me if you need any help in personal brand development. Let's see who is the winner. Who is the winner? Probably I should ask somebody else to do that. Can you do that for me, please? We'll be more objective. Okay, thank you. So, Victoria. Hey. Thank you.
Very much.
So I hope I planted the seed of thoughtfulness about personal brand development. And you'll take at least one thought away from this presentation that will help you to work on your personal brand. And at times when you don't feel empowered or inspired, remember this session and think about what is in me that how can I add value, and how do I add value, and what I'm great at, and how can I contribute. And you'll feel the difference, that it does energize you as a leader, and that does sparkle to your team as well. So enjoy. Thank you.
Thank you.